Welcome to this introduction of tymoraPRO's Strategy Builder. With Strategy Builder, you can easily create automated trading strategies and robots for stocks, forex, futures, or baskets and pairs. The beauty of this is that these strategies can be either fully automated or simply help to support and automate your trading process. For example, you can initiate a trade and then have tymoraPRO track the trade and close out the positions according to your predefined criteria. Or you can have tymoraPRO initiate trades while you manage the best way to exit the positions. Or you can have tymoraPRO handle the entire process for you while you simply oversee it and insert any stop, target, or position adjustments you see fit along the way. You have the full flexibility to manage your trading plan however you'd like, and tymoraPRO will automatically adjust to your changes. Of course, you're welcome to let tymoraPRO handle everything for you while you keep an eye on it. While it'll take a bit longer to build a winning strategy that you're comfortable with, you can literally build completely new strategies within minutes, then start testing them out on live market data and alerts. Live trading is a step away, simply by changing the target account. The possibilities are endless, and your strategies can be as simple as following our cycle-optimized trend indicators or as complex as processing multiple variables from custom chart indicators and baskets that you've built. In this example, we're looking for alerts that contain potential run in them. And this is the watch view for that alert, which was actually created by the strategy, as I'll show you in a moment. We see Hess up here, which we took a position in. Well, actually, the strategy took the position automatically at 11:04 based on this alert, potential run from high, Hess. We see it was moving steadily higher and then it broke the highs. And if we click more info, we'll see additional information that we can use to key in for these alerts. And now let's go back over here. We see currently our Hess position is doing pretty well. We're up $23, $22. Our SIG position is not doing so well, and we have a stop on that at 66.10. We double click on each of those and you see the complete statistics, and actually here we see the alert that triggered the trade, the same one I had just showed you. We see we have a stop on this right now, which is at 25% of the day range. And if we look on build, we actually see it's locked right now because the strategy is running, but these are all the parameters for the system. So you see how clean and straightforward this is. You have your sourced watch view alerts, and you can also create your own alerts here as well, whether it's watch views or even simple using. You can also create triggers using other variables. For example, we have Hess. If I right-click on View Rules Guide, you have all these other variables you can choose from. And when you have the chart open, you get even more. So there's like a basic set that you have available to you, which come from our servers. But if you're actually running your own proprietary custom indicators, or even the ones that we've included, if you're on that time frame, you'll get even more information accessible. If you're running strategies over a large number of stocks, obviously you're not going to want to include that because you don't want to have every one of those charts streaming or open. But if you're planning on trading, say, a few ETFs and you wanted even greater precision, you can create pretty much anything you want in tymoraPRO with the Strategy Builder by building your own indicators and then feeding those into the strategy as well. So that pretty much gives unlimited flexibility to create whatever you want. And if we take a look at this code, here we see potential run, which I showed you here, and that was the alert coming from there. And if we look at our SIG trade, we see that occurred a little bit earlier. It was at 11:03, another potential run from high. And right now we're only down 12 on that position. And we didn't set any targets on either of these, though we very easily could. Basically, we would put target equal and then whatever the criteria. If we want a tick target, we could say target equal 25. And they're always relative because when you're dealing with so many assets, you really don't want to have an absolute price. You can't say target equals 72, and then you have another stock that's trading at 5. So it's always relative. Now, if you're using variables, you can use an absolute target because if you're keying in on a variable that's using the high price, you can put a target of the, back to the high of the day, for example. In this case, we have here we see on alert key. Now that's taking that watch view we have, and we see here we have high in the alert because this is actually sourcing alerts for long and short trades. So we want to make sure that we're picking the right side. So we're using any alert that has high in it, like this one that we used. On alert key equals high. On alert key on the sell rules equals low. So that's how we're differentiating and putting into one strategy both sides of the trade. In this case, we're using buy bid. And what we're doing is, instead of just chasing whatever the current price is, we're actually tracking the, we have these cycle optimized trends in tymoraPRO, and these are produced on the back end, so they'll apply to any asset in the system. You'll have access to that. And in this case, you see as the price was moving up, it was tracking, in this case, the fast line. You see there's two, there's the slow and the fast. And it was just tracking this up until we got filled on the bid, and it'll do the same thing on the sell side. There's some extra criteria here too. We want to make sure that the asset is currently trading above its open, and we want the trend, and those are these trends here that are currently rising, as you see, but we want them positive on the 1 minute, the 3 minute, and the day. The daily trends should be up as well. And we also want the maximum day range not to be greater than the current average day range in this case. So that's what max day range equals ADR. And what that's basically saying is, well, okay, if we're picking out a potential stock that's moving higher on a breakout, well, we don't want one that's already gone 2, 3, 4 times its average day range. We want a maximum of the average day range. And that takes care of our buy rules. So from there, we can move over to position rules. And by the way, as some of these rules can get a little more complex, this is pretty straightforward and simple here. But let's say you start using variables and such, it's harder to see. You click on any of these headers, and you'll see it expands that whole section so that you can see all the rules a little bit clearer. Oh, another little feature here, you see this let's say you've set up all your buy rules and you pretty much expect your sell rules to be identical. You can easily mirror back and forth those rules, and then it'll try and catch any inverses it needs to make, but just double check in case it misses anything, sometimes from variables and other cases. Now let's just look at our position rules. Strategy type you have to start with. You just are declaring, is this a stock strategy, forex, futures, STK equals strategy. And by the way, rule guide, the rules guide has all of the information on what these things mean. So you see right here, we click that, comes right up to this web page. Gives you some special notes, and just you quickly look through this. The first thing is strategy type. Tells you the parameters you need. And you just scroll through here. It's not too long, but it gives you the, here's how we make variables. It gives you the overview of everything you need to do. And you start out very simply. Just think of something simple you want to do, want to create, and take it from there. And then as you come up with new ideas, like, oh, it would be great if we could maybe add a second target to perhaps drop half of the position at a certain price. Just go back to the rules guide and you'll see very easily how to do that. For example, on a target, let's say you're using a 25 tick target. If you only want to drop 50% of the position, you would add comma 50. And that's it. Now it'll drop 50% at that particular target, and then look if there's other targets or move on from there. Now let's see here. We have minimum stop of 5. So what this is saying is that if we have any stops that we're using, we want to make sure that we're at least 5 ticks away, whatever target we use. as a minimum. So that's, sometimes you might use a variable and such, and it's going to try and, for whatever reason, put a target that's too close. This is just saying that if we're going to use a target, the initial target should be at least 5 ticks away from our position price, average price. Let's see, flat by close equals 30. All that's saying is whatever happens in this strategy, however things pan out, by the end of the day, 30 seconds to the close, just flatten everything. We don't want to be holding anything after the market closed. Stop equals minus 25% DR. If the position falls more than 25% of the day's range back in, we'll just, that's our stop, we'll just close out the trade. And in fact, you see that here on HES. We have that stop that it placed right over here. And if we map that out, that should probably be just about 21%, but I didn't get the exact price. Runtime, in the same strategy, you can have multiple runtimes. In this case, what this means is we'll only allow new positions from 10:45 to 2:45, 14:45. And after that, we won't, you can set other options that will close positions after that time, or even stop the strategy. In this case, we're just saying at that point, we don't want any new positions. We just want whatever positions we have to and allow them to play out. The last parameter here is size by quantity. Well, you see we have 100 shares. That's where we're getting the 100 shares from. So going back here, let's see what we've got. Right now we have, let's see. Okay, well, actually, we've been watching our HES position here. So we ended up, it sort of topped out and fell back into that 25% area. We ended up just taking a loss on that for $19. And here we see the statistics on that trade, showing the drawdowns, the max profit potential, everything shows up over here. Let me show you the position log. So here we actually see all of our positions tracked moment by moment. So you see exactly what's going on. All the statistics. So minute by minute, you're tracking each position and the overall, and it'll combine all the strategies you have running into this, so you can actually see the performance, the different lots, how everything's unfolding. You can actually watch this in real time and get an idea of what's going on just with a quick glance. And it also gives you a record at the end of the run. Once you stop the strategy, you have something to go back to as a reference to see how everything played out, see how the strategy performed. You get an idea of how the P&Ls looked. Maybe there's some other ideas that you get on how to make the strategy, improve the strategy, better stops, better targets. Makes it very clean and easy for you to see what's going on. On the action log, you actually see everything that's happening. So you see the stops being modified. When we took a new position BKS, you see I mentioned was following that trend line, the fast 1 minute fast trend line. Here we see we kept repricing higher until we got the fill, and then finally over here we got the fill we were looking for, and immediately after we set a stop. So all the trading activity for the strategy you'll see appear over here. And in fact, we can filter this. Let's say we just wanted to see what was going on in BKS. Here we can just isolate the BKS entries. Click to reset. We can hide flat positions here if we only want to see the ones that are still open. And in fact, we can also sort this any way we want. Just double click, open. What's also cool is that anytime you can add to a position, and you can also adjust any stops you want. For example, like here we see on SIG, we have this 100 share stop. Let's say I decide, this isn't a good place. Actually, if it goes below that downswing, I'd rather just take the loss there. So you can easily adjust it. If we look back on the action log, you'll notice external adjust stop. So it accounted for the fact that I made a change, and now it's just, however it works that strategy, it'll just account for those differences. So whether, targets, stops, any position that any orders that I have out there, I can easily adjust. I can change the sizes. I can create outside orders and add them to the strategy. For example, here, let's say at this point, if we go a little bit lower, if we get to here, I want to add an extra 100 shares. Okay, so I just added an order based on that trend line. Now if I click on that, right click, I can actually add that order to this strategy. And now the strategy will own it and then handle it, manage it like any other part of it. So once it gets filled, the stops, the targets will all go up to, in this case, 200 shares. Let me add that. Okay, so now we'll actually see here on SIG status, we have an extra live order. So that's actually owned. But we could have also done that by just right-clicking on add. Right now there's no open orders. But also if we have a fill outside, we can add that just by clicking add. That's what that means. Let's say we already had an extra 100 shares we had bought separately. We can now add that to the strategy by clicking add. And now the strategy will own any of those additional shares as well. And let's see. Oh, another thing too, you can click on any of these. When you right click, you get the other menu. Let's say you wanted to block a stop or a target, or just have it, you don't want the strategy to manage it anymore, you would unmanage. If you wanted to flatten, you can pick different modes to flatten the position. You can pick to flatten any number of positions. Sorry, quantity. So you can flat 25, 50%, or 100%. In fact, you can click, if you hold the shift key down, you can click a whole range or use the control key, click one, several positions that you want to maybe close out, then right click, it'll flatten all of those. If I do flat 100 right now, all those positions will be closed out. Of course, you also have the, these cancel buttons and flatten, which give you other options, and that's again for the whole strategy. Or in this case, this is for the strategy set. So this would be all the strategies. This is for this first strategy, which of course in this case we only have one strategy to start with. On that note, I think I'll end the video here. Hope you enjoyed this overview of tymoraPRO Strategy Builder, and look forward to putting up many more